Welcome to Ghosts and Grit.
Hey, what's going on? So this podcast, I'm joined by Taran Butler. He's a longtime friend. I've been shooting up at his place for, gotta be nearly 15 years now. He's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to firearms, firearm training, and he's also an encyclopedia of movies. Who knew? Enjoy the episode. Please make sure you like and subscribe and follow. Taran Butler, how are you, sir?
Good. How are you, Jack?
I'm doing very well. Here, just pull that mic a little closer.
All right.
There we go. All right. Taran, how long have we known each other?
I think we met like in 2007 or something.
Yeah, long old time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty long. Fuck, dude.
Like these Facebook pictures come up of like
A million years ago.
You're out there and like with Nikki Gray and like cuckoo stuff and
Yeah.
you shooting and Glocks and junk.
Yeah, back when I was not such a good shot.
You're actually pretty freaking good.
Well, I wasn't good back then. You got me good.
Yeah, but you got good fast.
Yeah.
I didn't struggle and like be like, oh God, please go away.
Yeah, I didn't. I've never flagged anyone though, which is good.
No. You're naturally crazy good.
Well, so
People
are you.
don't know, which is weird. Like,
I keep it on the DL.
yeah.
You know, it's funny when anyone asks me, they're like, what's something you're good at? I'm like, I'm kind of good at shooting.
Yeah.
But I don't like to brag about it. So are you though. You're good at shooting.
Yeah. Sometimes.
How I don't think I've ever asked you, like, how did you get into competitive shooting?
It's weird. It's kind of movies did it. Back in the, I'm really old. So back in the 70s, as a little kid, and everybody was going to see Star Wars and all the fun stuff. We saw it too, but I saw Dirty Harry. And then I saw Magnum Force, which is part 2. And they have a whole competition scene there where Dirty Harry has a competition against these renegade cops that are all like vigilantes. David Soul Hutch from Starsky and Hutch and all those guys, Dan Tana, which is, and there's a combat shootout, like a Hogan's Alley and all that. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. Like, and what's ironically weird and funny is the grips back then, the way they were holding the guns, actually really modern. First movie to ever have a modern grip by David Soul in any movie in history back in 1974. So that was kind of cool. Usually movies after that were just cup and saucer and Dorco stuff. And
Why was that?
I don't know. David Soul just held the gun. It wasn't perfect, but it was way better than stuff you saw way later. So I saw that, and my brother bought guns. I bought a Colt Python, and didn't really get into competition until my brother was following it, and he almost got into it, but then finally I got into it way later, like in the early 90s. And my first attempt was a box office fiasco. Some guy just decided to sell his.
Are we talking Cats box office fiasco or?
Yeah. It was like After Earth.
Okay.
And basically somebody wanted to use my range to practice and sold me their junky guns and screwed me over. So then eventually I got into it for real. I jumped in there with a Glock 21, came in 7th out of 118 guys. That's like, having a go-kart and almost winning an IndyCar race with a stupid fat Glock 21 against STI 2011s or whatever. And I knew from there I could be good at this. If I can come in 7th with that stupid gun in a 45, everybody's got 40s and 9mm, then I got a Glock 24, then I got a Grandmaster card in a year and just sort of wiping everybody out for the next 25, 30 years. And that led to other fun things,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have a very unique setup. It's especially for the vicinity to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Do you think having the ability to have a home range is really kind of what helped?
It helped massively. It's like Arnold has to go to like the local gym, get out of the way when you use the biceps of it. If he had his own personal gym, like you probably did, I'm sure that's why he got shredded. So having the range, having the natural talent for it, and the massive desire, like all I did was train and practice and watch videos and learn and shoot with the best shooters, the super squad, watch who's beating me at the time, start catching them, beating them, retiring them, and just doing that over and over again. And then I got not bored with pistol shooting, but I wanted to go next level. I want to be the best with a rifle. Like a rifle's better than a pistol in a shootout. An AR smokes a pistol. I want to be best with a shotgun too. So somebody threw me into a 3-gun match. At first I was like, oh my God, this is just going to be a nightmare. But ended up winning my first ever 3-gun match. And then like now if I get my stuff together, I don't know if I say bad words in the show or not.
No, you can. You can
if I get myself together, I will just destroy, and which I did, and started winning all the 3-gun nationals and everything out there. And it was great, but I always love movies. You know,
Yeah.
I love movies a lot, and action movies, any kind of good movie, Gone with the Wind, whatever. And then it kind of led to that.
So for people that don't understand the world of competitive shooting, where do you rank? I mean, I know where you are, but for people listening, like where do you rank, and in what disciplines?
Well, I'm a 7-time Grandmaster. I'm about to become an 8-time Grandmaster. The new division just opened up. I just shot it last weekend and won the division. It just started in May. I don't know if they have a ranking system. Our organization is not run by very, very good people. They're pretty stupid, honestly. But I've won every kind of nationals and things I've entered. I've lost a lot of matches, but I've won a lot more. And for like 25 to 30 years, I've won a lot. And at Southwest Pistol League, I think I've got like 45 championship back-to-back titles on 2 or 3 different cups or 4 different cups. One I'm still been defending since '97. So no one's beaten me since '97 on that cup.
Are you
So
serious?
it's a perpetual cup, So, and I started in like '94.
You're like a dictator of the cup.
But there's some great shooters now, and it's a different world now, and you can't do that forever. I still shoot. I don't just travel nonstop all the time because like I'm overwhelmed with the company, constantly training some amazing people for films. I love that I'm making a difference in Hollywood with the action and the training, and I even help write lines for the film to make sure the gun stuff is written properly and things like that. I've even been asked to help choreograph a little bit of action here and there. So it's really fun to be part of that, and it's just fun. Like you're sitting on the range, you're standing there like, okay, I'm training Michael Bay today. I grew up watching his films. I love The Rock. I love Transformers and all that stuff. Then tomorrow I'm on the range with Austin Butler. The next day I'm on the range with. It's fun. It's surreal, but it's also cool because they respect what I do because no one's doing it at this level.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to brag, but what I do in 3-gun is being the best in the world with weapons at taking out bad guys from point blank range to 750 yards as fast as you possibly can. So it's not some Olympic bullseye thing with a pellet gun going boop. It's relating to it's Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
You're the ultimate video game person in real life, taking out bad guy characters, zombies, monsters, good guys, whatever, ghosts, all the goons, aliens, whatever. So that's what I did for many years with the best weapons in the world. Then I started designing the best guns in the world. As you know, you have some, and people started liking what I do. And I helped start other companies, as you were there in the very beginning of it.
Yeah.
And I was very lucky that these companies saw what I was doing, and I was able to start working with them. But even though they did a lot to try to they didn't deliver. Like they didn't pay me anything.
Yeah.
Took all my ideas, and one day I'm like, you know what? I'm glad they saw that there was something good here, because I was just going to shoot matches forever and just retire at 50 something as a shooter and call it a day and have no money. It's not a lot of money in shooting. There's some money, but it's mostly in the training. But I was able to go, okay, these guys are doing these companies really bad. Like I'm going to do a George Costanza, and I'm going to get a tuna on toast and whole wheat rye, whatever, and flip the script and do everything opposite of what they're doing, and I'll be successful. And I did. Yeah. And instead of guys that are running a company that don't know how to shoot, don't know guns, they just think it's cool, they can hang out with a bunch of operators and get chicks, and Splits get chicks. Splits is double taps, right? How fast shoot a gun. And I'm like, I can't. Like, this has been a disaster. These guys, even though they're doing well, I can't be part of something like that. So these 2 companies, I helped start them. One of them went out of business. The other one is still chugging along, but the owner let somebody else buy his company from him. So whatever. So, but they produce products that are just like it's like a Burger King burger, right? The guns I produce are total Mastro's ultimate ragingest guns in the world.
Yep. And I can contest to that.
Yeah, and like the Pit Viper, I wanted that gun to be a national title holder before the movie even came out. So when John Wick 4 came out, the gun already has 2 national titles under its belt. Wow. So it's not just a cool gun that stabs people and does wild shit and shreds a bunch of freaks. It has a national. It's the best gun in the world for winning the 2-gun nationals back to back. So that's the kind of stuff I like to produce. The best shotguns. Then we wanted to go next level with the shotgun for the movie. So we designed the Dracarys shotgun, which the John Wick franchise has a lineage to Game of Thrones.
Really?
Well, they have Greyjoy kills his dog in the first movie.
That's, yep.
They have the guy from Game of Thrones, the sidekick guy. He's in part 2. Halle Berry shoots him in the leg with my Glock.
Yeah.
not a guy like, I'm going to shoot your dog. I'll take your dog. You owe me. Nothing's for free. That jerk, you know?
Uh-huh.
Then in the last John Wick, there's the guy he shoots in the beginning with my Glock.
Mm-hmm.
He's the high table, guy from Jordan. So he shoots that guy in the beginning of John Wick 4 up in the desert. So with my custom Glock 34.
Yep. Oh, was that actual your Glock?
I'm standing there like 10 feet from the scene, watching the scene happen. So he shoots that guy, which that guy was replaced from the first guy was, the guy that played that part in part 3 didn't want to do the part, or they changed him out for a different high table guy from, whatever, Jordan. But he shoots him with that gun. There's also the girl that's John Wick's sister-in-law that brands his arm in part 4.
Mm-hmm.
She's also in Game of Thrones. So the shotgun is a Dracarys. It's firing flames and blowing everybody apart. And the ammo is Dragon's Breath. Okay. And the gun is called the Dracarys 12. So.
And is that your design?
Yeah, what it was is a long time ago, a company that was sponsoring me called BCM. You know BCM.
Yeah.
They make fantastic rifles for the military and everybody. They go, hey, do you want to help with this gun that's coming out? This is way back on John Wick 3. And so we didn't get it ready in time for John Wick. You can't. A mag-fed shotgun is like the holy grail. It's never worked. You can't get them to work. Nobody gets. I won the nationals with mag-fed shotguns that didn't work. Mm-hmm. I lost 2 nationals with guns jamming, and my stupid AK model that what is it, the
Saiga?
Sega.
Yeah.
I won, but that was with 20-second jams. I was just so damn fast. I won anyway, but that was twice. So I gave up on them. But this company finally came out with one. It took like 5 years to design it.
Are these the guys from Idaho?
Yeah.
Yeah. I met those guys.
Oh, they're awesome.
Yeah.
Cody and everybody.
Yeah.
So long story short, the gun wasn't ready way back then. It would have been another jamming mag-fed shit show safari. So we waited and all that time to come out with it, and every detail, everything we can work out together and make that gun the ultimate. Like we have now run that thing with Joe Rogan, everybody you can imagine coming out nonstop. I never clean it. Way too lazy to clean it. It never jams. It's insane.
Is it just you guys got the kind of you just got it dialed right to where it doesn't jam, or is it piston,
or
what?
Feed ramps, the design of it, all the detail back and forth. We're coming out with a bigger one for 3-gun model. This is the short one, and John Wick's not 3-gun. It's just destroy every bad guy gun. So it's a great gun. So
nice.
Yeah.
So I mean, given the climate of the world that we're in, right, and everyone's kind of everyone gets like nuts about guns. Do you ever worry that like, oh wait, this things could really get restrictive? I mean, it's already restrictive in California.
It's massively restrictive. We will probably start another place out of state eventually.
Yeah.
But we have our, I bought a beautiful facility during COVID. It was a great deal on the building. I can't just leave it. It's right. I like the convenience.
Oh, I didn't know you got another place.
Oh yeah, it's big. It's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, it's not the garage range shit show safari anymore. So it's nice, That's cool. That's kind of not abandoned, but that's like my place to get ready for matches now.
Yeah, that's home, but it's home base.
And it's still where I train everybody, and do all that stuff. But no, I have 54 employees and a big building, and I bought 3 buildings all side by side. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Is it out near where your place is?
It's right there. If you get off at Madeira to go see me, it's right there next to 511 and Costco.
Cool. I know. Yeah.
And everything and all that stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah.
How often are you training, air quote, celebs for movies versus actual training for yourself?
I haven't trained myself personally probably in like 7 years.
Really?
I just cannot get the time.
So you roll up to matches straight cold, like whatever, I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
And I can lose. I mean, it's a different world. There's guys half my age that are training their asses off, and it's hard to beat them.
Do you know how many people that probably pisses off, Taran, that you just fucking roll out of bed and just keep winning, world titles?
Well, I keep saying I'm going to put the time in. I mean, Tatiana and I will get back to it. I want to get her. She's been beating men too.
Cool.
My fiance, she's wonderful. She helps me train everybody. Helps me keep my schedules together. Because even today, she's like this morning, like, you got to go Jack. I thought it was next month. I'm like, oh. So she gets everything together for me. But I'm training way more people than I'm training anything else. I mean, I will take more time, but it's not. I've kind of done all that. I've won all that. I could quit now in competition. I'm going to be pretty happy. I just still like to go. It's still in me. It's still fun to be there in the shop, getting my stuff ready, prepping.
How did you get into training actors for movies? Like, because I know you you used to train a lot of, you trained directors back in the day, right? But
how did it all start? I mean, it started back with like James Cameron, probably.
Oh, wow.
Was like the first big one. That was in 97 when he came out. So it was like Titanic was in theaters.
Wait, don't you have like a crazy Titanic story with James? Are you allowed to tell that story?
I've told it before. It's going to be rehashed. It's stupid. But long story short, like the only celebrity I ever trained before that was maybe not Norm, but it was the other guy from Cheers, Ratzenberger.
Okay.
Came out with a 38.
Wow.
Shoot that. And then Dan Aykroyd at some police range in Burbank. Because they were like, we're all lined up shooting, and he saw me shoot. He's like, holy shit, this guy's good. Can you show me? And I started showing him because the other guys were like, that was kind of fun, Dan Aykroyd. So then, long story short, so my friend John Richling is this raging bodybuilder guy from like the Arnold era, big blonde guy, 6'4", whatever. He's like, hey, I want to bring James Cameron to shoot. I'm like, yeah, sure. It's never gonna, like my favorite director ever, favorite movies of all time. Not gonna happen. So it's months and months of saying it's gonna happen. I've had a million people promise it, nothing ever delivers, right? So that day is coming, and he's like, he's coming Thursday. I'm like, oh, it's really happening. Oh my God. So I go up on the mountain, and I put 1 million water bottles on the hill. I didn't have them like my range like I have now. It's just a mountain of nothingness, stupidness, right? So I lay out like everything I own. I have all these cool guns like HK91, AUGs, ARs, big table of super fun stuff, you know, like from Miami Vice. And he pulls up on a couple Hummers, and he's got William Abernathy with him. He's the guy in Titanic that has the shirt on, the smiley face, the bearded guy, like, when the Titanic sinks, it's going to break and pull the second half down.
Yeah, wasn't that guy an actual scientist?
He's actually a writer, helper of the film, and all this stuff. He lived like in his guest house in Malibu, whatever, right? So he brings him out, some other bodybuilder guy, and then some other friends or whatever, security guys, whatever. So they come out, and all the guys are like in awe of all the crazy, raging, you know, exotics, right? Weapons. And so like, oh my God. Cameron doesn't care. He walks up. He's like, I hear you're some kind of a raging Grandmaster shooter. At the time, I was just a pistol Grandmaster, not a 3-gun maniac yet. That was going to happen later that year. I go, yeah, I'm pretty good. He's like, well, I got this. He pulls out like a Combat Commander 45 he got from Terminator 2 from some Israeli guy that did the training on the movie, right? So he's got this, total Weaver stance, all just, you know, all sideways and elbow down, cup and saucer. And I start trying to fix his grip and all this stuff. And I'm trying to fix it all. He goes, stop. And I'm like, holy shit, James Cameron's yelling at me. He's like, before I change all this, because the guy's so freaking smart, it's insane. He goes, I got to see if you can even shoot. Why would he change everything and learn from somebody else without seeing, right? So I'm like, oh my God, the pressure of like trying to win a nationals or something going on right now. So all these targets lined up, right? And I have this weird like Limcat holster, like the gun is like suspended in midair. It looks super cool, right? So I have this 40 caliber 2011. So I draw and just go shred this stuff, holster it like in a Western. His guys are like, holy shit. They're like, go crazy. He's like, did you guys see that shit? Did you look at all the alpha things? Everything? They're like that close together. All right, fix my grip. Show what's going on. What's going on? It was amazing, right? And I was super broke back then, right? Trying to do the salient nonsense a few years later.
Yeah.
And so actually quite a bit later. So he lays down 10 grand. He goes, I want to come every Thursday till I'm as good as you. I'm like, holy crap, that money's going to help pay the mortgage and all this stuff. So we're sitting there, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, you'll be good. You'll never be as good as me. You'll be good.
You're like, yep, okay.
I'll never be a director like you either. So anyway, so long story short, we're sitting there. This is the funny part about the story, which is really crazy. His attorney is with him, this guy named Jim Schmidt. And I'm asking a lot of movie questions, right? I'm like, it's the biggest movie in the world. Aren't you making like tons of money? He's like, no, I ain't making shit. Fucked. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you don't even know what happened. I go, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, okay, so I'm making this movie. It's number one as of right now today in theaters, and all my net worth is like 6 or 7 mil. You know, great, whatever. And it was, but that's not big. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's not fuck you money.
And I'm like, what happened? He goes, well, there were like 20th Century Fox is yelling at me like during the whole making the movie, like, why do you want to repaint the deck again? Who cares if it's brown or it's all off tan? It's costing millions. This movie's gonna bomb. He's like, I don't give a shit. It's got to be correct. And the lamps and the lights and all this stuff with the woman. Who cares? It's close enough. They already made this freaking bomb with Catherine Zeta-Jones and Peter Gallagher. It's a freaking fucking bomb on NBC. Who gives a fuck? He's like, fuck you. I'll finish my movie, you motherfuckers. My way. I'll pay my own fucking money. Fuck you. Like, he's sorry to tell me the story. It's so funny. And as he's telling the story, his attorney and him are sitting there. He's like, okay, forget my back end money. I'll finish the movie. Out of here, right? And finish it my way, which he did, right? Did it all his way, the right way, right? So didn't listen to those idiots and all this stuff about the flop with Peter Gallagher. So he realizes during the conversation that nothing was signed. So as he's telling the story, they both sit there as they start talking like, we didn't sign nothing with 20th Century Fox.
Wait, as he's telling you this story, they have like, oh wait,
yeah. So then he comes back like for the following Thursday, and from then on, next thing you know, getting his security team squared away, training all his guys, training him for years, and the money's just pouring in. You get $400 million, and it was so fun because we're out there. He's like, we're gonna do Spider-Man. We're thinking of Tom Cruise, but he might be a little old, or Tobey Maguire. It's going to be me or Michael Bay is going to direct it. It was like fun stories,
Yeah.
while we're on the range, all those years. And then I got into 3-gun because he trained so much. He got so good that, and I got into 3-gun because of him, but because I got into 3-gun, that let me add way more avenues of training to him than just being this maniac with a pistol. He can only go so far. Now it's like, okay, what else can I do? I'm going to quit coming. I don't want him to not come. It's so fun to have James Cameron out there. He's amazing.
Yeah.
And he's so cool because like he called me during the Matrix. Matrix came out. And because we had a daycare there back in the day. It's one day it was super funny. So he's like, I got to go to the bathroom. So we had a little daycare there for a couple of years. And these 2 Indian kids are like these movie Grandmasters, right? And they're like, we want to meet James Cameron. He's amazing, right? So I didn't know, like, he's like, how do you use the bathroom? And we didn't have anything set up back then. It was terrible, right? So he comes up, goes in the house. It's like a half-assed daycare going on. And these 2 kids are there. And I'm like, here he is. You want to meet James Cameron? They're like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, Jim, these kids are like beyond 10 times smarter than me. They're incredible. They're like, they're scientists. He's like, they're like, James Cameron. And so Terminator 2 is on TV, the director's cut, right?
At the daycare.
Yeah. So we're sitting in the daycare, couch, this couch with like, food on it and junk. It's a mess. And there's like, we were watching The Little Mermaid earlier. And so we're watching Terminator 2. It's a scene with Sigourney with the cigarette, the director's cut. He's like, yeah, when I did this scene, I made sure the cigarette smoke was going a certain way and And I'm like, oh my God, I'm sitting in a Masterclass with James Cameron, 2 daycare kids,
That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow. And how long did he, because I mean, I've never been up there when he's been there. How long was he?
It was probably like about 10 years.
Wow. Okay.
Like almost every Thursday.
Wow.
Then his team would come out. And then then I helped with Avatar 1, and then he got so wrapped up in the movie.
Yeah.
Then he ended up moved to New Zealand a couple of years ago. So it was like, then it would become periodic.
Yeah.
So it's been since 97. So it's like, 4 years now. So
do you get a lot of people kind of hitting you up as like hey, can you call me when so-and-so's coming over? Did you find that?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
And I did that a little too much back in the day. I don't do it as much anymore, but I've had some really fun mashups. Like one of them is pretty cool. J.J. Perry is one of the men behind the John Wick franchise. He would help with all the fighting. He came in on John Wick 1, really helped Chad and David Leitch and everybody. They all 3 together were master fighters back in the 80s. They were doing movies like, what's that video game? Where you go, I killed you, Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
So like them and Daniel Barnhart, all those guys. Like there's a picture of Chad, J.J. Perry, and Daniel Barnhart all shredded with their long hair, doing like these blood sport movies, all those 80s action movies and all that stuff. These guys were like amazing fighters that became stuntmen. And then of course Chad was a stuntman for Keanu on The Matrix and all that stuff. And so JJ came in to help on John Wick 1 and 2. And then he started growing into a bigger director, into a bigger like stunt coordinator, getting more demands, doing all this stuff. So I was able, because he brought me on John Wick, so I owe him. Like his daughter was being trained. How was it? He was training a friend of mine who's a shooter, his daughter to do martial arts, And JJ saw this guy shoot. He's a Grandmaster shooter, but he's not a 3-gunner, and he's never won anything like I've won. And this guy recommended, because JJ's like, will you train Keanu? And the guy goes, look, I'm good, but you got to go to someone who's really like the next level with the range and everything. And this guy was one of my biggest enemies at one time in my life. That's a whole other story, but it's crazy how life is. A guy wanted to destroy my life, and now he's like recommending Keanu to come to me. So he changed my life. So that's a whole other podcast. But so JJ came out, and JJ brought Keanu, everybody. We hit it off immediately. It was so surreal, because to watch someone on movies forever, then to meet them, and it's like you're in the movie with them. It's just a weird. And I was actually on the movie Speed as an extra, driving a stupid Honda Accord.
Really?
Behind the stupid the Toon Man car when they hit the water and it flies up. Mm-hmm. So I spent a day in the worst part of like Compton. And then my car was out of gas at the end of it, and I was driving, and I like ran out of gas. The most dangerous. It's a long story. So I told Keanu that story. Like I was on Speed. He's like, no way. I made a funny video out of it too. He was like, I can't believe it. So anyway, long story short, so JJ changed my life. Brought me the John Wick franchise. When every actor saw Keanu shoot like a maniac that 3-gun course, first they thought it was a stuntman. They're trying to say it's not him. But then a longer my director's cut on my iPhone 4, I put out shows it's him, because he turns around and you see the same video and it's longer, and then we put a bunch more out. Every actor came out, like you name it, they came out. They wanted it, because like, a lot of actors are pretty good fighters. You don't want to fight Jason Statham or Kung Lee or other actors out there. Some of them probably beat your ass, probably like Chris Hemsworth. But with the gun stuff, no, they look bad.
Yeah,
they usually look pretty dopey, and so they knew, like, to up their game, they got to do what this guy is now doing. It was a bar set in Hollywood that everybody came out to my place. So JJ, I always want to pay things forward whenever I can make a connection happen. My story's too long to get to this point, but I was working on Fate of the Furious with F. Gary Gray. F. Gary Gray was coming out doing stuff, and I just wanted JJ and F. Gary Gray to meet. F. Gary Gray did Straight Outta Compton. He's a great director. He did all the Friday movies. He's hilarious. He was hired to do Fast and the Furious Part 8, and we did custom guns for the movie, all this fun stuff.
Yeah.
So JJ was going to come out for some reason. I'm like, JJ, get out here right now. And F. Gary Gray's like, hey, bitch, I'm coming out. I got to go pick up something. I'm like, hold on, give me like 45 minutes. I live in Moore Park. I'm 5 minutes away. I'm coming out. No, just give me 45 minutes. Just slow down. I just want them to meet, right? So they come down, they meet at the perfect timing. JJ pulls out his laptop and starts playing the catacomb shootouts of John Wick 2 of Jackson Spidell, who's a stuntman for Keanu, for the walkthrough rehearsal scenes. And F. Gary Gray's like, oh my God, this is next level. This is amazing, you know? And so he ended up hiring JJ for that part. And JJ's like, I'm like, aren't you happy? Like, you're the second unit director. They replaced the guy they've had for like 4 years or 4 movies. He's like, I know, but biggest thing I've ever worked on was like an $80 million John Wick 2. This is $136 million. $380 million budget. I'm like JJ, the thing about you always step up. So next thing I know, like 5 months later, he flies me and my friend Jessica Medina to Atlanta, hires us as stunt people. I'm no stunt man, but I'm getting paid as a stunt man. I'm standing by some blown up car, I ain't doing nothing, right? But getting paid good money as a stunt man. And it's watching him commanding everybody, like The Rock and Statham and the big prison scene, all this, and he just commands people, and they have the best time with him. And he always comes under budget. So after that led to Vin loving him so much, Vin Diesel hiring him for Bloodshot, which led to him working on Fast 9, which led to him directing his first movie ever with Jamie Foxx called Day Shift. Dude, so all that led forward to that.
You're doing more in Hollywood than most agents.
But I never get producer credits. I just get like, yeah, you're a stupid shooter guy.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Wait, here's the question I've never asked. Who's better, me or Keanu?
Huh? You have to come out for a duel.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It was funny when that video first kind of hit the web and obviously went crazy and everyone was like, "Oh my God, Keanu's a fucking machine." I had all these people like sending me the video, being like, "Oh, have you seen Keanu shooting?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's where I go."
Yeah.
I was like, "He's late."
Yeah, I left out a dumb story earlier. When The Matrix came out, James Cameron called me because he likes to talk movies with me. And it's surreal because his voice sounds like another friend of mine. So I'm on the phone talking movies for like an hour to James Cameron, like we talked about another one. It was Mickey Rourke's Sin City, and then I'm talking to him, and he's like, I didn't want to like say I love The Matrix at first, right? Because it's so close to Terminator. Machines take over.
Sure, yeah.
One movie's all blue, one movie's all green. So yeah, it was pretty good. He's like, dude, it's fucking awesome. You like it? He's like, yeah, it is good. It's great. So it was kind of cool to like he's like, it's really good. Keanu's fantastic. And the Wachowski brothers, this movie is like, I haven't seen anything that good in a long time. I was like, wow, he could appreciate other people's work and not be like, oh, well, I'm just still the best that ever walked the earth. And every movie, So that's what's really cool about the guy, so.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so have you got people coming up literally every day at this point training?
It can be if I let it be. I have to I try to group sometimes. If I know two actors are going to hit it off, I have them together and it ends up being like an incredible fun day.
Cool.
I had John Bernthal and Aaron Taylor Johnson out. I think you've shot with Aaron a couple times.
I've never shot with Aaron. I actually told Aaron, because Aaron and I go back some years. I told him about your place,
So you brought him out.
I never brought him out, but I told him. No, I never brought him out. But I've never actually brought anyone.
You suggested him.
I told him. I was like, oh, you should go up there and shoot. This was years and years ago, though.
Yeah. He's been coming out forever. He came out for his first movie, I think, was The Wall.
Mm-hmm.
He had super short hair. So I had him come out with John Bernthal, and Aaron was getting ready for Bullet Train. And he had, curly hair and like a little beard and mustache. And John Bernthal had curly beard and a mustache. So we did this video together with them and Olivia Munn together. And it's like one of our biggest videos. They're just funny together. Their personalities they're sassy, they're hilarious, and they're great shooters, all three of them, and it was a pretty fun time. So little mashups like that, they end up becoming friends and stuff like that. I had about a month ago 2 Punishers out there.
Yeah, what, John?
I had John and Thomas Jane.
That's pretty cool.
And they didn't know they were coming, so it was just like, so I'm filming the moment when they meet, and they get in this long talk about The Walking Dead and Frank Darabont, because if you watch a movie called The Mist with Thomas Jane, everybody in that movie is in The Walking Dead.
Really?
Like everybody.
Wow.
Like there's like 5 or 6 people that are in that movie that he took from that movie and put them in The Walking Dead. Then you hear in my dumb video, I didn't post it, of Thomas Jane talking about how he was going to be in The Walking Dead and ended up doing the show Hung, and it ended up being John Bernthal. Oh. So he inadvertently kind of passed the torch to a Punisher inadvertently anyways.
That's interesting.
Weird stuff, huh?
A lot of weird stuff happens up at the ranch.
I know. What about alien stuff? We haven't talked about aliens.
We got to talk aliens. We got to talk ghosts.
Or a monster.
Well, I've got a good segue into that. What's well, firstly, how did you get into being such a movie buff? Because out of anyone I've ever met, you know more about movie trivia than anyone I've ever, like, you're like an encyclopedia of all things film.
I bet Tarantino would smoke me, but
I don't know, man. You could probably give him a run for his money at least.
I just found out he loves the Dirty Harry franchise.
Have you ever? I'm sure you have like a ton of Dirty Harry photography or whatever, but there's a gallery in Studio City. And the woman who runs it, it's a framing shop and a photo gallery. And her father was a photographer on all the Hollywood sets for years, and he bought up crazy collections of these other set photographers. She has the craziest old Dirty Harry set photography photos.
I wanna go see it.
And it's very reasonably priced. And you just go through a computer and you're like, oh, I want this picture and that, and she just prints it up, frames it for you. It's it's awesome. You should definitely.
Send that to me later.
Yeah, I will. I've got a ton of stuff on my walls from that gallery.
Yeah, I would love to meet Clint Eastwood somehow.
Right?
Yeah.
Has his son not been up to you?
His son came out.
Yeah.
He came out for Suicide Squad.
Okay.
Years ago. Yeah. Yeah. Nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
he looks a lot like his father.
Well, I love the one time I brought my dad up there. You were out of town.
I know, it was a match I couldn't miss, and I was so bummed. Like,
we'll get him up there again. He's mentioned it. My dad really loves shooting long range stuff now.
Yeah, I just made a whole new 2 long range areas.
Nice.
Yesterday. So
yeah,
because do one right through the middle where we shoot all the time. I dug a hole through the berm.
Oh, cool.
To shoot right there, and then the right side I just opened it all back up again.
Cool.
It was just weeded in nightmare. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a lot of ground to de-weed up there.
Yeah.
So what how did you get into being a movie buff? Was it just something you always enjoyed?
Yeah, my dad would tell movie stories. Like he told me about the TV show The Night Stalker with Darren McGavin. And he would tell the best stories. And I'd watch the show. I'm like, oh, the story's not that good. The movie's not, this show's not as good as the story, you know, and he would tell such great stories all the time. And then, you know, we'd watch good movies. The one movie I was not bummed, but kind of, they screwed me up. They made me watch The Exorcist, and I was like 7 or 6 or 5 or 6 or something. They took me in the theater to see Exorcist, and twice, and I ran out both times. Like and it haunted me for years and years. Like the first scene that haunted me was when her throat gets big in the bed. It's like that. Ran out of the theater. I'm in the hallway. It's in Canoga Park, whatever theater. I'm like, well, then they took me back again to see it, and the scene where the dresser comes up at her, and her head turns around backwards, with the, you know,
crucifix.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh my god, I can't. What are the? And I'd see her in the window.
How old were you?
Well, it was when it came out.
So it was like 76 or 78? Was that?
It was 1970, like 3 or 4. Yeah. I was probably 7 or 8.
Oh wow,
6 or 7.
That's not a traumatic film to show for a 7 or 8-year-old.
So, but to this day, it's still, I think, the greatest horror movie ever made.
Oh yeah,
it's always voted #1
for sure.
And you know, like William Peter Blatty or the director, he broke her back on that movie, right?
No.
You know the part where she's in the bed going, rah, rah, rah,
oh yeah, where she had she had a body brace on, right? Yeah.
She's like, you're killing me. Can you turn it down a little bit? Can you not hurt me as much? He's like, turn that bitch the fuck all the way up. And they broke her back.
Oh, and because doesn't she like let out some kind of scream, and that's actually
they broke Linda Blair's back on that part.
Wow.
Yeah. And then also, he had a .357 Magnum. And he would just fire it off on the show to get people just scared, like during scenes. And that gun is loud.
Yeah.
9mm loud. Try a revolver, like boom, he'd shoot it off on the set, and it would just freak. But I mean, hey, he got the results, you know, for whatever.
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that fly today.
You know, no, I know. So yeah.
So are you? On that note, are you into the paranormal at all, Taran? I've never really asked you.
I mean, I like the aliens. I believe there are aliens for sure. I don't know why they're not coming around to hang out or whatever yet, or whatever to finally.
Why
land,
we're so awesome? Why shouldn't they come
to land on the you know, the freaking White House and all that stuff yet? My family had a ghost story. My mom and dad. We had a lot of money. We lost everything. And now I have money again. But when we had a lot of money, my mom and dad. Bought the Bing Crosby house in Glendale. It's a beautiful, amazing house. I was a little kid. This is like the early 70s. And my mom told me 2 major ghost stories in that house because the family before us all died, and Bing Crosby and his whole family have killed themselves.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like his son shot himself in the head with a 12-gauge shotgun, blew his head off a double-barrel shotgun. Another son killed himself. Another person dead. It's crazy. Look up Bing Crosby. It's just nuts, right?
Yeah.
So this house, one day my mom is laying on the pool on the diving board, just laying there, and opens her eyes. This woman's face is just floating over her head.
Holy shit.
Another one is this Afghan dog and this woman are just walking through the kitchen into like the outside like glass there, and everybody's just watching this happen. Like
numerous people saw that happening.
Yeah, my mom and dad and someone else there. So I've heard those stories my whole lifetime. I never got to have any of those experiences. I was just a stupid kid running around with like a Stretch Armstrong or something. But they told me those stories for years. That's probably the closest paranormal lunacy that I've had.
Yeah.
So I haven't been in the right spot. So.
Have you ever seen anything weird out at your place? Because you're far out enough from the city to where you can actually see the stars, and you got some night sky up there.
I've just seen shooting stars. We have a giant white owl, that's gigantic, that's out there, that's tried to kill some cats here and there, but hasn't gotten them. Thank God I put them in the house. And just like maybe a weird person might show up they don't like.
Yeah, there's definitely some weird folks out there.
Yeah.
So, but you believe in like UFOs and aliens and.
I had one guy like on the street walk up to me once. It wasn't too far from here, and turn around and look in my face and tell me like a whole bunch of stuff about my life.
Really?
Like a weirdo, and then walk away from me. It was like 20 years ago. It was just that story's too weird to tell. That was like, I was like in shock. It was before social media and everything. He just turned, said all this crazy stuff, went into my face like a demon guy, and then walked away. Maybe it was just a cuckoo man. I don't know. So, but
it's pretty weird that a cuckoo guy knew so much about you.
But I haven't seen any cool alien stuff or anything. You know, I want to.
With all your shooting, I'm sure you've had some pretty interesting people with interesting jobs in the government come by.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever kind of met some folks where you're like, yeah, they're not in the same population as regular folk?
I've had a lot of people tell me a lot of behind the scenes stories on stuff, but you know, it's like after a class, I'm training I have so many different groups of people that come out, and I just kind of everything becomes a blur. But I've had people tell me, you know, some wild stuff, but I just don't, you know, I'm pretty sure it's true, but I don't even remember who they were half the time. They're gone, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah, and how do you verify any of it ultimately?
But I mean, I'm sure the stuff's probably true. You know? So, like, out of all your research, what's the most compelling, realistic thing? Is anything with Roswell, like you've been closer to figuring that, or Area 51?
You know, I've had the alien stuff. To me, I just go, well, yeah, it's clearly fucking real. Look how big the universe is. I mean, the largest photo ever taken was a James Webb telescope. It was just last week, and this photo is, I think, 21 terabytes, and it's of like something like close to like 1 trillion stars taken in this photo.
Wow.
And so you're like, wait a second. So every one of those stars is a sun, which means there's at least, 5 to 9 planets floating around. So there's trillions of fucking planets out there. Like, just if we're 1 in a billion, great. That means there's, however many, planets out there that have life.
Well, I just got back from Mexico City. We went on to the Fast 10 premiere with Michelle Rodriguez. It was super fun, super packed, super great. Then we went to, just go see the pyramids out there.
Yeah.
When you're actually there, it's like, there's no way this wasn't done without some kind of
technology.
And those ones aren't even as crazy as the ones in Egypt.
Yeah.
Like they're amazing, but like you can't do it today. How are you gonna do it today?
Yeah.
The detail, the way they're connected, all the stuff. They went to all the museums and see all the stuff that's like, you can't, like, this is not possible. It's had to be something. And they even have like these scrolls of like so many alien looking things and messages going on. And you watch Ancient Aliens, it's a pretty good show too.
That's a great show.
And you can't deny what these people are showing, like how all these pyramids all line up in the world with a beam that just down to 1 milligram of like, it's just, there has to be, something that had happened in a different light before a bomb, or it's not a bomb, but like a meteor wrecked everybody and started all over again.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not an expert in any of that stuff.
No, but I think it's what we've been told in the history books at school, I think is very wrong. Like they're off, and for some reason they don't seem to want to change the narrative, and that to me is always a glaring, when there's enough evidence to prove that the story you're telling isn't accurate, but yet you're refusing to change the story. Well, that's a problem,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there is definitely something to be said about aliens, and but like with the ghost stuff, I've had experiences which I can't figure out.
On the shows you've done, what was the most crazy one that happened?
Man, I've experienced where I've been in a place where I've been like, hey, if something's here, open the door, and the door is fucking flung open, and it's not like we have a special effects crew working on our shows that are rigging it with some pulley system or microfilament or whatever.
Do you believe that certain spirits are just stuck in limbo?
See, I think it's a few things. I think there's a few things that go on with hauntings. I kind of have like a list of 4 or 5. The first is the kind of the most obvious, which is it's the spirit or energy of a once living human. The second is it's some kind of interdimensional energy that has an ability to kind of bounce between our reality and whatever its reality is. The third is, are we encountering some kind of undetectable energy spectrum which causes hallucinations? People that live under power lines will get headaches and feel nauseous or whatever. But if you talk to someone at the power company, they're like, "Oh no, that's not real. That can't happen." But it happens. The fourth is it a lot of haunted houses or old shitty rundown buildings? Are we inhaling some kind of toxic mold, which is giving you hallucinations, which makes you think you're seeing a ghost? So, I have a bucket, of things that I kind of float between. I have definitely had some kind of intelligent encounter with something. I don't know what it is, but it's, I've had conversations using devices, and they turn them on and off, yes or no. So there's definitely something.
What about like the Ouija board doing its thing?
I've had 2 experiences with a Ouija board where I was like, categorically, that was fucking legit. But other than that, I haven't had a huge amount of success with Ouija boards. I've never seen like a full on ghost, like what you're talking about. Your family saw like a woman walking with a dog and seeing I've never had anything as clear as that. I've seen shadows, but there's something to it. I think our understanding of all the spectrums of energy is very limited.
So between aliens, ghosts, which one do you think is 100% for sure?
Both? I think both in different buckets. I think aliens certainly do exist in our reality.
Well, we've seen so many videos, with that one flying along the military plane.
Yeah.
Like just going 1 billion miles an hour.
I saw one today, which someone posted, and it obviously could be fake, but they were filming out of a window of an airplane, and you see this fucking thing just go whizzing past.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, what is that? And I've seen so many of those videos, and I'm friends with Jeremy Corbell. And he's even before that little orb one that shot past the military camera recently, I was sending him some of the stuff, and he was like, he's very professional about when he'll disclose stuff. And
well, the government knows everything, just won't tell us nothing, right?
Oh yeah.
At this point.
But I think it's beyond government. I think it's like private industries controlling it. I think
so like Area 51, you can't get near there.
No.
Nobody can get in there.
I know. I know some people that have worked out there, but on the military side of things, like testing weapons and shit.
But like they're supposed to have a ship in there with a dead alien, right?
Supposedly.
Yeah.
Just ask Will Smith. He went there. He drove in there in an RV with a bunch of other dudes in RVs.
I know.
But yeah, I just there's something to it. Does Will Smith believe in aliens? I mean, he's fought them.
He probably does. What about Bigfoot? What do you think of that?
Bigfoot's a tough one because
they never have any evidence, right?
My biggest hiccup with Bigfoot, right, is like hunters will film stuff, right? But you think about how many hunters there are in America and how many trail cams are in America, and you've never seen a Bigfoot on like a trail camera, like a game camera. But yeah, I've interviewed people that have seen Bigfoot, and they're not making shit up. I fully believe them, and if they were to make stuff up about seeing Bigfoot, why would you risk sounding like a fucking lunatic? Like, there's no gain to that.
Remember the original video where he's walking and he had boobs and everything?
Yeah.
They like proved it was real. Then another whole show proved it wasn't real. They had a whole crew that made a low budget movie down the street were behind it.
Yeah.
Then another one proved again it was real. Like, it drives me nuts. Like,
totally.
Which one is it?
My one thing with that
video is so good though.
It is.
It's so good.
But my one thing with that, if you're gonna fake Bigfoot and you're a bunch of guys, why are you gonna give Bigfoot big old hairy titties? Like,
just because that makes it so. Yeah.
Do you think that's what because for me, I'd be like, I'm not gonna bother with that. I'm just gonna have him be a big dude and cruising around. Like, why give Bigfoot titties?
But nothing since then has been any good. The videos, I've seen some really dopey ones with like just a black gorilla suit running in the forest with an iPhone purposely shaking.
I saw one, and it was something like stood upright, and it was like looking around a tree. It could have been a bear, but the profile wasn't as like thick as a bear.
What about Loch Ness Monster? That's done, right?
Yeah, I think that's a hard one.
That whole thing was some kind of a boat rudder or something.
It was a boat. It was something to a boat, and then someone said it was a duck or
a swan or something.
Fucking thing. Yeah.
So that one got wrecked.
Yeah.
So we're down to 3.
We're down to 3.
2.5.
2.5. My one favorite thing about Bigfoot though, and I've kind of been batting this around. What if a Bigfoot is an alien walking around Earth in like their version of a spacesuit? Like they look at Earth and they go, look how many hairy animals are here. So we need to blend in. We need to make ourselves look like a hairy animal.
Yeah.
And so they have this fucking spacesuit that looks like.
Do you think there's different groups of aliens?
Oh hell yeah!
Like there's little ones, bigger ones. They're all kind of the same, right?
Yeah,
like
I think
from War of the Worlds.
I think there's a bunch of different types. Why not? Oh, do you like reading books? Do you are you a big reader?
Not a big reader.
Audiobooks? Do you fuck with those?
Yeah.
Okay. Get this book called Project Hail Mary.
Okay.
It is the best fucking sci-fi book.
You said an F word.
I have, yes.
Strike him.
Strike, yeah, there we go. Demonetize me.
Right.
Best book ever. And it's super sci-fi. It's like Earth is dying, and they have to go on this mission to save it, and they go across the universe with this.
Is a movie possibly?
They are apparently. Ryan Gosling is like involved in trying to make it into a movie.
Yeah.
If it'll be one of those cases though, if they make it into a movie, there's no way they can cram it all into one film.
Yeah.
But it's the guy that wrote The Martian.
Oh, okay. Well, that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'll have to get that.
Yeah, it's a great audiobook. It's the same guy that reads the audiobook as the guy that reads all the Jack Carr books. Have you ever listened to any of the Jack Carr books?
Yeah. I mean, Jack Carr shoots at my place.
Oh yeah, right on.
I built the gun for Chris Pratt's the Terminal List.
Oh, cool.
He's got a little gun.
Just another what action movie haven't you worked on, Taran?
As
of late?
I did Ghosted. What did I not do? There's some I'm glad I didn't do. One I just watched recently. There's a bunch. I don't know. So.
You got an interesting life, Taran Butler.
Thanks.
From shooting steel to training some of the biggest names in town.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I've been lucky.
Yeah, but it's not luck, dude. You're good at what you do. You know what works. You know what doesn't. And you're a good instructor. That's the other thing. You are a very good instructor. You're not forceful. You don't bark at people. Like I've always found that the way that you teach it's very suggestive. It's like, hey, just try this, or what about that, or that, and I think that's I've taken a lot of training classes, this, that, and the other, and it's a comforting approach because shootings can be nerve-wracking for people and scary, and you make it easy for people.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, I've gotten a little more meaner with my classes.
Well, probably
not meaner, but a little more like on it.
Well, so. I'm sure there is plenty of dumbasses that have come out.
There's been a lot. So, yeah.
All right. Well, Taran, thanks for coming by.
Yeah,
I appreciate your time. Yeah.
Thanks for letting me come out.
Yeah, we covered the gambit, so I appreciate it.
All right, you got to come back to the range.
I will, absolutely. I need to get some guns worked on. So
let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Jack.
All right. Thank you.
All right. That's fun.
And folks at home, you can, or if you're listening, wherever, make sure you click like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening to this, well, you can find it wherever you find podcasts. And Taran Butler, where can people find you?
Taran Tactical Innovations. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, every kind of platform, YouTube, all that stuff. So Taran at Taran Tactical.
Awesome.
All right.